Hello and welcome to the second in the Working with Data series. In this episode, we are going to focus on navigating around big data sets. So hopefully in the previous episode, you became a little bit more comfortable with using Excel um, and using formulas and just starting to get a little bit of a grip on analyzing your data. In this episode, we're going to look at how to use big data sets more efficiently and more confidently. As with the previous episode, I really encourage you to have the practice data open so that you can follow along and follow the tips and tricks on your own, on your keyboard, alongside this video. I think really important with Excel is trying these things yourself and getting comfortable with the formulas, with the shortcuts, and in your own time as well as in this video. So we're going to open up our data set. For this one, we are going to be using our service info tab. So as you can see, we've got this big data set here that has loads and loads and loads of rows of data. So it keeps going all the way down. And this is quite common when you're working with data, how to have these big tables. But what we're going to focus on in this episode is just how to navigate around it a little bit better. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is simply how to move around your table a little bit more quickly. So if we start by holding down our control key and hitting the down arrow, what will happen is we will go right from the beginning of the table right to the last row of data. So it'll go right through the data set until the first break in your data, in which in this case is our the end of our table. So if we hit the down arrow, you can see it has taken us right down to the bottom of this table, right down to row 376. So we're going to go right back up using the same approach. We're going to hold down our Alt key, hit the up arrow, and we jump to the top of that data set. Now you can see it's stopped at date, and that's because the row above us is empty. So as I said, it will go right through your data and hit the first endpoint. Now this works equally as well going left and right. So if we wanted to go to right to the furthest column in our data set, we would hit Control and the right arrow, and you can see that has moved along, and similarly with left. So simply by holding down Control and using our keypad, we can move around our data set quite easily. This is really helpful, as I said, when you're working with lots and lots of data, just getting you a bit more agile, a bit quicker moving around your data set. The next thing I'm going to show you is hiding and unhiding rows. So some of you may have noticed that the row numbering is going from 1 straight down to 3. We're missing 2 because everything else is continuous. So why that is we've got a row of hidden data. So how to unhide that is you simply highlight the rows around it. You right click on your mouse and you go right down to the bottom and you can see it says unhide. And if we hit unhide, there we are. That extra row reappears. Now this row is blank, but it will work just as well with anything that's got data in it. And so if we click on that, we right click and we hit hide, it will work just as well. Now this works just the same for our columns. If we right click and we hit hide, you can see that has hidden that there for us. Say we wanted to unhide everything, you hit this triangle, the square in the top right hand corner, you right click and you hit unhide, and it will hide all of your unhide all of your data on that side. That we can do the same here, and we can hit unhide and that pops back out. So what this can be useful for is if you have a section of data that you don't want to see, you're trying to clear up your screen a little bit and you want to focus simply on a couple of rows, you can hide data around it. Or equally, say that we have embedded a formula into our table, as we did in our first one, and we've got a number that's required for our table, for example, 12. And in this row, we want to insert a formula that has the number 12 in it, that might represent something. We can actually then hide that row and that will disappear. So you're not seeing any of the working behind your formulas, but still that formula won't break. It will still be there. So it's a really, really handy trick to know. The next thing that I want to show you is inserting a filter on your table. Now, this is really, really helpful when you're trying to understand your data a little bit more, or bunch it together, or see a specific part of your data set. So how that works is you highlight the top row that's got your table headings in it. So we'll just highlight that across. And I'm already on it, so you can see we've got that data tab open at the top, and we go around to sort and filter, and we hit filter. And just like that, we have these little squares with the triangles that appear in each of our table headings. Now, this allows us to do all sorts of clever things. For example, if we wanted to only view the data from Bury Borough Council, we would click that. So you select, unselect all, so it disappears first of all, and then you select what you want to see, and you hit OK. And you can see it has filtered out all of the data for us. You can see the numbers jumping around there. It's essentially hidden loads of rows from us based on our request to only see Bury Council data. And to go back and see all your data again is really simple. It hasn't been deleted. You simply click back on that square at the bottom of your table heading, and you select all, and everything reappears. Now, that's a really, really helpful tool, and it does a lot more than just showing you certain cells. You can also order things or sort them. So you can see here we've got oldest to newest and newest to oldest. To say we wanted to see the oldest first, I can click on that, and you can see it's all changed, and it is now showing us a particular order of our data. Equally, if we wanted to view the newest to the oldest, so the most recent data, we would hit that, and you can see it's all changed, and all the data following that row stays the same, so all of the other cells change with it to make sure your kind of line item is unchanged. That's a really, really helpful way of sorting and organizing your data. And to clear your filters so you get your kind of original sorting, you simply highlight them, you go back up to your data, you hit filter, and that goes away like that. So really, really helpful way of looking at your data. Another really helpful trick when working with big data cells is freezing panels or cells. So what this means is when I'm scrolling down, you can see those top cells from the table disappear. Now, it's quite easy to see with this data set. The first looks like a date. The second is pretty self-explanatory. Same with the third, maybe less so further on. But if we wanted to freeze that there, what we would do is we would highlight the cell below what we're wanting to freeze. So you click on that. You go into your view tab at the top there. You hit the down button and you freeze panes. And you can see now that has remained unchanged, and it's kept everything above it, and you can see exactly what data you are looking at. So that's a really helpful way of seeing your data. If we unfreeze that, see that is disappearing, though very usefully this particular function, this particular version of Excel is actually doing that work for us. You can see it is listing them there at the top, but we are losing anything above it. So if there was a few things that we wanted to keep, for example, instructions or data sources or whatever it is, we lose that, and not all versions of Excel will have that at the top. So really, really helpful tip from for working with big data cells.